I was sitting in my lawyer's office reviewing what I thought would be routine paperwork, updating my will, making sure everything was in order, the kind of estate planning you do when you're 70 years old, and want to make sure your affairs are handled properly. My phone buzzed on Isaiah's mahogany desk. A Facebook notification. I almost ignored it. I wasn't much for social media. I had an account mainly to see photos of old students and keep up with church members. But something made me pick up the phone. The notification said, Shanice Richardson posted for the first time in a while. Shanice, my daughter, my only child. I opened Facebook and saw the post and my entire world shifted. There was a photo of Shanice, my 42-year-old daughter, standing in what looked like a lobby holding brochures, grinning at the camera with both thumbs up like she'd just won a prize. The caption read, "Finally putting mom in a home today. New chapter for our family. So relieved. Fresh start. New beginnings. Taking care of myself." I read it 3 times before my brain could process what I was seeing. Party emojis. She'd used party emojis. My hands started shaking as I scrolled down to the comments. There were already 47 of them and they were still coming. "Congratulations, girl. You deserve this. So happy for you. This must be such a relief. You're such a good daughter. Your mom is lucky to have you. Finally, I know how hard you've been working to take care of her. Enjoy your freedom. You've earned it." 47 people. 47 people congratulating my daughter for putting me in a nursing home like I was a problem that had finally been solved. Like I was a burden that had finally been lifted. And the party emojis. Those goddamn party emojis. I looked up at Isaiah Wright, my lawyer of 15 years, a sharp black man in his mid-50s who'd helped me with everything from Thomas's estate to my retirement planning. "Isaiah," I said, my voice remarkably steady considering my hands were shaking, "we're not updating my estate plan today, we're changing it. Completely." "What do you mean?" I turned my phone around and showed him the post. Watched his face change from professional neutrality to genuine shock to cold anger. "She's celebrating," I said quietly. "She's celebrating putting me in a home, with party emojis. And 47 people think that's appropriate." Isaiah read the comments, his jaw tightening. "Evelyn, what is she talking about? Are you going into a facility?" "Not if I have anything to say about it. She ambushed me this morning, told me we were going to lunch, then took me to some depressing Medicaid nursing home, and said she'd already put down a deposit. Said I was moving in next week, whether I liked it or not. Did you agree to this?" "Hell no, I didn't agree to it. I'm 70 years old, Isaiah, not 90. I'm completely capable. I live independently. I drive. I volunteer at church. I'm on 3 different committees. There's nothing wrong with me." "Then why?" "Because she wants my house. She's wanted it for 2 years. And she's decided she can't wait for me to die naturally, so she's going to bury me alive in a nursing home and take everything." Isaiah leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled, thinking, that's financial exploitation, elder abuse. If she's trying to institutionalize you to gain access to your assets, that's exactly what she's doing. So here's what I want. I want to change my will, remove her completely. And I want to sell my house. Today, before she can try to stop me or file some kind of legal action. "Evelyn, that's a big decision. I've never been more sure of anything in my life." I showed him the post again, the party emojis, the congratulations, the celebration of my daughter getting rid of me. Isaiah nodded slowly. "Then let's do it, but first, you need to understand who I am, and how I got here, because the story of how a devoted daughter becomes the kind of person who celebrates institutionalizing her mother, that story starts long before this morning. Before we continue, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to hear my story. If you're comfortable, let me know where you're listening from, and what time it is where you are. Now let me tell you my story. My name is Evelyn Marie Richardson, and I was born in 1954 in Memphis, Tennessee, to a family that knew poverty and pride in equal measure. My father, James Crawford, was a sanitation worker. He died in 1968 during the Memphis sanitation strike, the strike that brought Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to Memphis, the strike that was happening when Dr. King was assassinated. My father didn't die in the violence. He died of a heart attack 2 weeks before Dr. King arrived, worn down by years of dangerous work, no benefits, poverty wages, and the stress of trying to feed a family on money that wasn't enough. I was 12 years old when he died. I remember my mother Dorothy Crawford standing at his funeral in a dress someone from church had given her because she didn't own anything appropriate for a burial. I remember her face not crying because she'd cried herself out the night before, just hollow and determined. After the funeral she sat me down in our kitchen in the Foot Homes projects and said, "Evelyn, baby, listen to me. Your daddy died because he didn't have choices. Died because the only work he could get was work that killed him slow. You're gonna have choices. You understand me. You're gonna get your education, and you're gonna have choices." My mother worked as a domestic worker, cleaned houses for white families in East Memphis who paid her $20 a week to scrub their floors and raise their children while her own child came home to an empty house. But she made sure I stayed in school, made sure I did my homework, made sure I understood that education was the only way out of the projects, out of poverty, out of the cycle that had killed my father at 41 years old. I graduated from Booker T. Washington High School in 1972, top of my class, got a scholarship to Tennessee State University in Nashville, full ride for low-income students with high grades. I worked 3 jobs while in college: overnight desk attendant in the dorms, weekend waitress at a soul food restaurant, tutor for wealthy white students who needed help passing classes I could teach in my sleep. I graduated in 1976 with a degree in English education and a teaching certificate, got hired at a high school in Atlanta, moved there because Atlanta was growing, because there were opportunities, because I could build something there. I met Thomas Richardson in 1978 at a church social. He was a postal worker, steady and kind, with hands that were gentle and a heart that was good. We got married 6 months later in my mother's church in Memphis. Me in a dress I'd sewn myself, him in a suit he'd saved 4 months to buy. We moved into a small apartment in Atlanta, and we started saving. Every single paycheck, we put money aside. Every raise Thomas got at the post office, every summer school teaching stipend I earned, every extra dollar, it all went into our savings account. We had one goal: buy a house. Our own house, with our name on the deed. Something nobody could take from us. In 1985 we found it, a beautiful 4-bedroom Craftsman in Atlanta's historic West End neighborhood. The house had been built in 1925, had good bones, but needed work. The neighborhood was predominantly black, middle class, stable. The house cost $82,000. We'd saved $18,000 for a down payment. We took out a mortgage for the rest, 30-year loan at 11% interest, because that's what rates were in 1985. Thomas and I had a plan: pay off that mortgage in 20 years, not 30. We paid extra every month. When Thomas got overtime, it went to the mortgage. When I taught summer school, it went to the mortgage. Every tax refund, every bonus, everything. We had our daughter Shanice in 1982, 3 years before we bought the house. She was our miracle. We'd been trying for 4 years, had almost given up, and then there she was. Perfect. Beautiful. Our whole world. We raised her in that house. Thomas rebuilt the front porch himself. I refinished every piece of hardwood floor in that house on my hands and knees. We renovated the kitchen in 1994, did most of the work ourselves to save money, repainted every room, landscaped the yard, made it ours. By 2005 we'd paid off the mortgage. 20 years exactly like we'd planned. We threw a party, invited everyone we knew, took a photo of us standing in front of the house holding the paid-off mortgage papers. Thomas died 5 years later in 2010. Cancer. Colon cancer that spread before we caught it. Took him in 8 months from diagnosis to death. He left me $180,000 in life insurance from the Postal Service. He'd always been careful about benefits. Always made sure we were covered. He left me his pension. He left me a house that was paid off and worth by then about $320,000 as the neighborhood started to gentrify. I was 56 years old. I taught for 9 more years until 2019, when I retired at 65 with a full pension from the Atlanta Public Schools system. By 2024 my financial situation was solid. The house was worth $680,000. The West End neighborhood had completely transformed, young professionals moving in, old houses being renovated, property values skyrocketing. I had $420,000 in savings and investments carefully managed over the years. My pension and Social Security gave me $4,800 a month in income. Total net worth, approximately $1.1 million. I wasn't wealthy by some standards, but for a woman who'd grown up in the Memphis projects, who'd watched her father die from poverty wage work, who'd put herself through college and built a life with her husband dollar by dollar, I was secure, comfortable, independent. And I'd always told Shanice the same thing. This house, baby. This is your inheritance. Everything your father and I built. This is for you. When I'm gone, this is yours. That was my mistake. Telling her the house would be hers someday. Because Shanice decided she couldn't wait for someday. Shanice had always been entitled. That's the kindest way to put it. Thomas and I had tried to raise her with the values we'd been raised with. Hard work, education, saving money, being grateful for what you have. But we'd also given her things we never had. We'd wanted to give her things we never had. She'd grown up comfortable. Never worried about money the way we'd worried. Never went without the way we'd gone without. Got her first car at 16. We bought her a used Honda, but still a car. Went to college at Spelman. We paid her tuition, her room and board, everything. Graduated with no debt because we'd saved for years to make sure she wouldn't start her adult life drowning in loans, the way so many kids did. Maybe we made it too easy. Maybe we protected her too much from struggle. Maybe we gave her so much that she never learned the value of working for something. She got a degree in communications, got a decent job in corporate HR for a healthcare company, made about $68,000 a year. Not rich, but comfortable. Especially when she married Brandon 5 years ago. Brandon worked in tech sales, made about $95,000 a year. Combined, they were pulling in $63,000 a year. They should have been fine. Should have been able to buy a house, save for retirement, live comfortably. But they rented a townhouse for $2,400 a month. Drove cars that were too expensive. Brandon had a BMW lease. Shanice had an Audi lease, both paying over $600 a month for cars they didn't own. They took expensive vacations. They posted all over Instagram. They ate out constantly, bought designer clothes they couldn't afford. They were living beyond their means. And they were drowning. And for the past 3 years, Shanice had been making it very clear that she was waiting for me to die so she could inherit my house. Not in those exact words, but close enough. Mom, this house is way too much for you to maintain. You should think about downsizing. Mom, you're rattling around in 4 bedrooms. You should sell and get a condo. Mom, have you thought about what happens if you fall and no one finds you? You should be somewhere with people around. Always framed as concern. Always presented as caring about my well-being. But I knew what it really was. She wanted that house. She and Brandon had been looking at real estate listings for years, priced out of the Atlanta market, unable to afford anything in a decent neighborhood. And she knew I had a $680,000 asset sitting in the West End with her name on it. In her will. When I died. But apparently I wasn't dying fast enough. 2 years ago, Shanice started a campaign. A subtle, insidious campaign to create a narrative that I was declining. It started on Facebook. Worried about Mom today. She forgot about our lunch date. Is this normal aging or something more? Aging parents. Concerned. I hadn't forgotten our lunch date. She'd gotten the day wrong and I'd corrected her. But she posted about my memory issues. Had to repeat myself 3 times on the phone with Mom. Getting worried about her hearing or comprehension. Anyone else dealing with this? Elder care challenges. I'd asked her to repeat something because her toddler was screaming in the background and I couldn't hear. But she posted about my comprehension issues. Mom seems confused about her medications lately, making me nervous about her living alone. Caring for aging parents. Stress. I wasn't confused about anything. I took the same medications I'd taken for 5 years. Same schedule, no issues. But she posted about my confusion. Each post individually seemed reasonable. Seemed like a concerned daughter worried about her aging mother. But together they built a narrative. A narrative that I was declining, that I was becoming incompetent, that I needed help. And people believed it. Her friends commented with sympathy and advice. Family members called to ask if I was okay. Church members started treating me differently, more carefully, like I was fragile. Shanice was building a case, a public case that would justify what she was planning. I didn't realize the full extent of it until 6 months ago when I went for my annual checkup with my doctor, Dr. Patel. Mrs. Richardson, he said carefully, I want to ask you some questions about your daily life. Your daughter called my office last week with some concerns. What concerns? She said you've been having memory problems, forgetting appointments, getting confused about medications, having trouble with daily tasks. She wanted to know if I thought you should have a cognitive assessment. I stared at him. I'm not having memory problems. I haven't forgotten any appointments. I'm not confused about my medications. What did she say exactly? He pulled out his notes. She said you've been increasingly forgetful, that you've gotten lost driving to familiar places, that you've left the stove on multiple times, that you've been repeating yourself and asking the same questions. None of that is true. Not one word of that is true. Dr. Patel studied me carefully. That's what I thought. Mrs. Richardson, you've been my patient for 8 years. I've seen no signs of cognitive decline. Your memory is sharp, you manage your medications perfectly, I have your pharmacy records, you're coherent, oriented, independent. So why is your daughter telling me otherwise? That's when I understood. She wasn't just building a social media narrative. She was building a medical narrative. Creating documentation that I was incompetent. Setting the groundwork to have me declared unable to care for myself. So she could take my house. Dr. Patel, I need you to document this conversation. I need you to document that I am fully competent, that my daughter's claims are false, and that I do not consent to any cognitive assessment or intervention. I'll document everything. Mrs. Richardson, are you safe? Is your daughter trying to? She's trying to steal my house, but I'm going to stop her. After that appointment, I started paying closer attention, started documenting. I discovered that Shanice had called Adult Protective Services twice, reporting that I was at risk, that I was living in unsafe conditions, that I was unable to care for myself. Both times they'd sent someone to investigate. Both times the caseworker had found nothing wrong, closed the case, but the reports were on file. More documentation. I discovered that she'd consulted with an attorney about guardianship, had a phone call with a lawyer about how to have me declared incompetent and get herself appointed as my legal guardian, which would give her control of all my assets including my house. She'd been planning this for months, maybe years, and this morning, she'd made her move. She called me at 9 a.m. Mom, I want to take you to lunch today. Just us mother-daughter time. I feel like we haven't connected in a while. I should have been suspicious. Shanice never suggested mother-daughter time, but I was her mother, and I wanted to believe she actually wanted to spend time with me. We met at a Panera near her townhouse. We ate sandwiches. We made small talk. It was fine, pleasant, even. Then she said, Mom, I want to show you something. There's a place nearby. I want you to see. Just humor me. Okay? She drove us to Sunset Gardens Senior Living Community on the outskirts of Atlanta off a highway exit I'd never taken before. It was a nursing home. Not a nice one. A Medicaid facility. The kind of place people go when they have no money and no choices. The building was old, 1970s institutional architecture. The parking lot had cracks running through it. The sign was faded. Shanice, why are we at a nursing home? Just come look. I think you'll be surprised. We went inside. The smell hit me immediately, that nursing home smell of industrial disinfectant trying to cover up the scent of people living too close together, of age and illness and resignation. The lobby had fluorescent lights and linoleum floors and furniture that looked like it hadn't been replaced since 1985. There was a fish tank with cloudy water. A TV playing The Price is Right to an audience of elderly people slumped in wheelchairs, some awake, some not. This was where Shanice wanted to put me. A woman in business casual came out of an office, all smiles and professional warmth. Miss Richardson, so good to meet you. I'm Melissa, the admissions coordinator. Your daughter has told me so much about you. I looked at Shanice. She wouldn't meet my eyes. Let me give you the tour, Melissa continued. We have a wonderful community here. All our residents receive excellent care. 3 meals a day, activities, social engagement. She walked us through the facility. Tiny rooms, 2 residents to a room, sharing a bathroom, a dining hall with the lingering smell of overcooked vegetables. Activities room, where 5 elderly people were half-heartedly throwing a beach ball. The whole time, Melissa talked about care and community and safety. The whole time, Shanice nodded along like this was wonderful. When the tour ended, Melissa said, So Miss Richardson, what do you think? Your daughter mentioned you'd like to move in soon. We have a room available starting next week. I never said that. Melissa faltered. Oh, your daughter said. My daughter is mistaken. I'm not moving here. I'm not moving anywhere. Shanice grabbed my arm. Mom, can we talk privately? She pulled me aside into a corner of the lobby and her mask dropped. Mom, I already put down a deposit. $1,500, non-refundable. I'm moving you in next week. I stared at her. You're what? This is what's best for you. You can't live alone anymore. You're declining. I'm not declining. There's nothing wrong with me. You're 70 years old. You shouldn't be alone in that big house. What if you fall? What if something happens? I'm your daughter. I'm responsible for you. This is the right decision. A decision you made without consulting me. Because I knew you'd be difficult about it. Mom, you're being selfish. I've been so stressed trying to take care of you from a distance, worrying about you constantly. This place is safe. They'll take care of you. You'll be with people your own age. You'll be fine. I don't want to be here. Well, this isn't about what you want anymore. This is about what's best for you. And I'm making that decision because you're not capable of making it for yourself. That's when I understood completely. She'd already decided I was incompetent, had already determined that she knew better than me what I needed, had already taken control of my life. Take me home, I said quietly. Mom, take me home right now or I'm calling an Uber. The drive back was silent. When she dropped me off at my house, she said, think about it, Mom. You're moving in next week. This is happening. I got out of the car and watched her drive away. Then I went inside my house. My beautiful house that Thomas and I had built together, and I sat at my kitchen table and I cried. Not because I was scared, not because I was confused or incompetent or declining. Because my daughter had just tried to institutionalize me so she could steal my house. And then I stopped crying. Because crying wasn't going to fix anything. I called Isaiah Wright and made an appointment for that afternoon. Estate planning, I told him. Some things I wanted to update. I showed up at his office at 2 p.m. with my documents, my bank statements, my will, and a head full of clarity about what needed to be done. And that's when the Facebook notification came in. Finally putting Mom in a home today. She'd posted it like it was done, like I'd agreed, like it was a celebration, with party emojis. And 47 people had congratulated her. I looked at Isaiah. I want to change my will. Remove Sheeness completely. And I want to sell my house. Today. Isaiah made phone calls while I sat in his office. Still scrolling through the Facebook comments. Still seeing people celebrate my daughter getting rid of me. First call, to a real estate attorney Isaiah knew. I need a favor. Client needs to sell her house fast. Like listed today fast. Cash offers only. Second call, to an aggressive realtor Isaiah's wife knew. 4-bedroom craftsman in West End, immaculate condition, owner motivated, needs to close ASAP. Can you list it today? Third call, to a photographer who did real estate listings. Emergency job. How fast can you get to West End? By 3 p.m. we had a plan. The photographer would shoot my house at 5 p.m. The listing would go live by 8 p.m. Listed at $65,000. Slightly below market value for a quick sale, but still well above what Thomas and I had paid nearly 40 years ago. While we waited, Isaiah drafted a new will. Simple, clean, everything to charity. You're sure about this? He asked. This is your only child. She's not acting like my child. She's acting like a vulture waiting for me to die. Except she got tired of waiting. Where do you want the money to go? I thought about my father dying at 41 because he didn't have choices. Thought about my mother working herself to exhaustion so I could go to college. Thought about all the kids who came from where I came from who just needed a chance. Scholarship fund. For students who've lost parents and need help with college. In my husband's name, the Thomas Richardson Memorial Scholarship Fund. How much? $500,000. That'll fund full scholarships for dozens of students over the years. The rest goes to my church, to their community programs. $50,000 to my church. Whatever's left after expenses and taxes, split between the scholarship fund and church. Nothing to Sheeness. Not a penny. She wanted my house. She can't have it. Nobody can have it. It's getting sold and the money is going to people who'll actually appreciate it. Isaiah drew up the new will. I signed it. We had it notarized right there in his office. He had a notary on staff. By 4 p.m. I had a new will, legally executed and filed. Then I did something that felt petty but also deeply satisfying. I commented on Shanice's Facebook post. Just one sentence. Interesting post, sweetheart. I'm at my lawyer's office. Call me. I watched the comment appear on her feed. Watched people notice. Watched the new comments start. Wait, your mom is commenting? Did you guys discuss this? This seems weird. My phone rang 30 seconds later. Sheenace. Mom, what are you doing commenting on my post? What am I doing? What are you doing posting party emojis? About putting me in a home like it's something to celebrate. It is something to celebrate. A new chapter. Getting you proper care. I don't need care, Shanice. I'm completely capable, and I'm certainly not moving into that depressing facility you tried to dump me in. Mom, this isn't up for discussion. I already paid the deposit. Get your money back. I'm not going. You don't have a choice. I'm your daughter. I'm responsible for you. You're not responsible for anything, and you're about to find out exactly how not responsible you are. Check your Facebook again in an hour. I hung up. The photographer finished shooting my house at 6:30 p.m. Beautiful photos. He was a professional, made my house look like something from a magazine. The hardwood floors Thomas and I had refinished. The kitchen we'd renovated in 1994 and updated again in 2015. The front porch Thomas had rebuilt. The garden I'd tended for 39 years. Every photo was evidence of a life built, a home loved, a legacy created. The listing went live at 8:17 p.m. Stunning 4BR2BA craftsman in West End. Original hardwood floors, updated kitchen, beautiful front porch, mature landscaping, owner motivated, quick sale desired. $65,000, cash offers preferred. By 9 p.m. there were 3 inquiries. By 10 p.m. there were 8. Atlanta's real estate market was insane. People were desperate for houses, especially in the West End, which had become one of the hottest neighborhoods in the city. A house listed below market value that was move-in ready. People were circling like sharks. The next morning I woke up to 17 messages from the realtor. Offers were coming in, multiple offers. All cash. And a text from Shanice. What the hell did you do? I didn't respond. At 10 a.m., she showed up at my house. I heard her car in the driveway, heard her slam the door, heard her footsteps stomping up to my front porch. She banged on the door. Mom, open this door. I opened it. She was holding her phone. Facebook pulled up, showing my house listing that someone had shared in an Atlanta real estate group. What is this? She shoved the phone in my face. I'm selling my house. You can't sell my house. It's not your house, Shanice. It's my house. My name on the deed. My house that your father and I bought in 1985 and paid off in 20 years. My house that I've maintained for 39 years. My house to sell. But this is my inheritance. You promised me this house. I promised it would be yours when I died. I'm not dead. And the way you acted yesterday, posting party emojis about putting me in a home, I've decided you don't deserve to inherit anything. Her face went red. You're being ridiculous. I was trying to help you. Help me? You tried to institutionalize me without my consent, so you could get your hands on this house. That's not... I wouldn't. Mom, you're confused. Stop it. Stop gaslighting me. Stop pretending this was about my well-being. I know what you were doing. Dr. Patel told me about your phone call, about how you lied to him about my cognitive state. I know you called Adult Protective Services twice with false reports. I know you consulted with a guardianship attorney. You were building a case to have me declared incompetent so you could steal my house. Don't you dare stand there and tell me you were helping me. Shanice's mouth opened and closed. She had no defense because I'd just laid out exactly what she'd done. You can't sell this house, she said finally, desperately. I'll stop you. I'll get a lawyer. You'll do nothing. Because this is my property and I have every legal right to sell it. Isaiah already checked. There's nothing you can do. Mom, please. Her voice broke. Real tears now, not manipulative ones. Brandon and I, we've been counting on this house. We've been planning our whole financial future around it. We can't afford to buy in this market without it. We need this. Then you should have treated me better. You should have waited until I was actually dead instead of trying to bury me alive. We're drowning in debt. We need this money, please. That's not my problem. You're 42 years old with 2 good incomes. If you're drowning in debt, that's because of choices you made. Bad choices. And those consequences are yours to face, not mine to fix. You're really going to do this? Sell the house out from under me? I'm selling my house. There is no under you. It was never yours. She stared at me with something like hate. Then she turned and walked to her car. She tried everything over the next week to stop the sale. Called the realtor. Threatened to sue. The realtor called Isaiah. Isaiah told her there were no grounds for any legal action. Called my doctor, tried to get him to declare me incompetent. Dr. Patel refused. Told her he'd already documented that I was fully capable and that her claims were false. Posted on Facebook about how I was confused and making bad decisions and how she was worried about elder abuse by scammers. Several people reached out to me asking if I was okay, if someone was manipulating me. I told them I was fine making my own decisions and that Shanice was upset because she wasn't getting what she wanted. She even showed up with Brandon one evening. Tried to stage an intervention. Brandon did most of the talking. He was calmer, more rational, trying to appeal to my sense of family. Mom Richardson, we respect your independence. We do. But this house represents Shanice's future, her security. Can't we talk about this? Maybe there's a compromise. You could sell it to us at a family discount. We could work out payments. With what money? I asked. You're drowning in debt. You can't afford payments on a $60,000-$80,000 house. You can barely afford your townhouse rent. We could figure something out. No, you made your choices. The BMW lease, the Audi lease, the expensive vacations, the lifestyle you couldn't afford. You made those choices expecting my house to bail you out eventually. Well, I'm not bailing you out. I'm selling my house and the money is going to charity. Shanice's head snapped up. Charity? You're giving my inheritance to charity? It was never your inheritance. And yes, I'm funding a scholarship program for students who've lost parents. Kids who actually need help, who'll actually appreciate it, who'll use it to build something instead of squandering it on German car leases. They left. The offers kept coming. The highest was $67,000 to $92,000, all cash, 10-day close from an investment company that wanted to renovate and flip it. I accepted it. The house sold in 9 days. I'd lived there for 39 years, raised my daughter there, buried my husband and mourned him there, built a life there, and I sold it in 9 days. The closing was on a Wednesday. I signed the papers in Isaiah's office. The buyers wired the money. After realtor fees, closing costs and various expenses, I netted $68,000. I'd bought the house for $82,000 in 1985. I sold it for $72,000 in 2024. A pretty good return on investment. But more importantly, I sold it before Shanice could take it from me. I had to move, of course, couldn't stay in a house I'd sold. But I didn't end up in Sunset Gardens like Shanice had planned. I moved into Peachtree Senior Living, a beautiful independent living community in Midtown Atlanta. Not a nursing home, independent living. Apartments for active seniors who want community but don't need care. My apartment is a lovely 2-bedroom with a full kitchen, a balcony with views of the city, my own washer and dryer, my own space. There's a fitness center, a library, activities if I want them, community if I want it, privacy when I don't. The rent is $3,200 a month, including utilities. With my pension and Social Security, I can afford it easily, and I chose to be there. That's the difference. I moved in with the furniture I wanted to keep. Donated some things, gave some things to church. Started a new chapter in a place I actually wanted to be. Meanwhile, Shanice's Facebook had gone quiet after the house sold. No more posts about her mother's decline. No more posts celebrating anything. Because people had figured it out. After my comment on her post. After people saw the house listing. After I made a few strategic comments explaining that I was completely capable and Shanice had tried to institutionalize me to take my assets. People figured it out. The 47 people who'd congratulated her were now embarrassed. Some deleted their comments. Some sent me private messages apologizing, saying they'd had no idea, saying they'd believed Shanice's narrative. Shanice's reputation was destroyed. The daughter who tried to steal from her mother. The daughter who posted party emojis about putting her mother in a home. That's what people knew about her now. But I wasn't done. Isaiah had advised me to press charges. Financial exploitation of an elderly person is a crime in Georgia, especially when there's evidence of a coordinated plan to gain control of assets through false medical claims and guardianship attempts. I could have had Shanice arrested, could have pressed charges, could have made sure she had a criminal record. I thought about it, long and hard. In the end, I didn't do it. Not because she didn't deserve it, but because I'd already taken everything that mattered to her, her inheritance, her reputation, her fantasy of financial security funded by my death. That felt like enough. But I did do one more thing. I made a Facebook post of my own, my first real post in years. I wrote out the whole story. Calm, factual, detailed. How Shanice had spent 2 years building a false narrative about my decline. How she'd lied to my doctor. How she'd called adult protective services with false reports. How she'd consulted with a guardianship attorney about having me declared incompetent. How she'd ambushed me with a nursing home visit and tried to force me to move in. How she'd posted party emojis celebrating institutionalizing me without my consent. I included screenshots of her original post with the party emojis and the 47 congratulations comments. I included a photo of the real estate listing for my house. And I ended with this. I'm 70 years old. I'm fully capable physically, mentally, emotionally. I live independently in a community I chose. I make my own decisions. I manage my own finances. There is nothing wrong with me. My daughter decided she couldn't wait for me to die naturally to inherit my house. So she tried to bury me alive in a nursing home and take everything I'd built. She posted party emojis about it. 47 people congratulated her. So I made a different choice. I sold the house she thought she was getting. The money is going to fund scholarships for students who've lost parents and need help with college. The Thomas Richardson Memorial Scholarship Fund, named for my late husband. $500,000 will help dozens of students over the years. Students who'll actually appreciate it. Students who'll use it to build something instead of squandering it. Shanice will inherit nothing. Not because I don't love her. I do love her because she's my daughter and that love doesn't just turn off. But because love doesn't mean accepting abuse. Love doesn't mean letting someone exploit you. Love doesn't mean sacrificing yourself so someone else can benefit from your suffering. I gave her life. I raised her. I paid for her education. I helped her when she needed it. I would have left her everything when I died. But she couldn't wait. She wanted it now, and she was willing to destroy me to get it. So she gets nothing. And I get my peace. And those students who'll get scholarships in my husband's name, they'll get a chance we never had. A chance to build something without drowning in debt. A chance to create lives they choose. That's a legacy I'm proud of. My daughter posted finally putting mom in a home today with party emojis. I posted from my lawyer's office with photos of the house she thought she was inheriting. It's sold. And I'm living my best life. I hit post and watched it go live. Within an hour it had been shared 200 times. Within a day over 2,000 shares. Local news picked it up. Atlanta woman sells home to fund scholarships after daughter tries to institutionalize her. The scholarship fund launched with $500,000. I worked with Isaiah to set it up properly. Need-based for students who'd lost one or both parents, attending Georgia colleges, minimum 3.0 GPA, preference for first-generation college students. The first year we funded 12 full scholarships. 12 kids who got to go to college without drowning in debt. Without working 3 jobs like I'd done, without sacrificing everything just for the chance at an education. I met every single scholarship recipient. Looked them in the eyes and told them this is for you. Not because you're owed anything, but because you deserve a chance. Use it well. They did. Every one of them. As for Shanice, she and Brandon separated 6 months after I sold the house. Turns out when the fantasy of inherited wealth disappears, when the stress of actual financial reality sets in, a marriage built on materialism doesn't last. She moved into a smaller apartment, got a second job, started actually dealing with her debt instead of waiting for my death to solve her problems. I heard about it through mutual friends. I didn't gloat. I didn't feel victorious. I felt sad, because I'd raised her better than this. Or I thought I had. 3 months ago she reached out. Sent me a message on Facebook. Mom, I know I don't deserve to talk to you. I know what I did was unforgivable. But I've been in therapy. I've been working on myself. I've been trying to understand how I became the kind of person who would do what I did to you. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for the house back or the inheritance or anything. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. Truly sorry. Not because I lost the inheritance, but because I tried to hurt you. Because I saw you as an obstacle instead of as my mother. Because I posted those party emojis like your suffering was something to celebrate. I was wrong. Completely, totally wrong. And I'm so sorry. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. But if you don't, I understand. I love you, Mom. I hope you're happy. I read that message 5 times. I thought about ignoring it, thought about blocking her, thought about all the reasons I had to never speak to her again. But I also thought about my father dying at 41, about my mother, working herself to exhaustion, about Thomas, taken too soon by cancer, about how short life is and how much time we waste on grudges. I wrote back, Shanice? Thank you for your message. Thank you for the apology. I believe you mean it. But an apology doesn't erase what you did. It doesn't give me back the 2 years you spent plotting to steal from me. It doesn't undo the party emojis or the nursing home ambush or the humiliation. I forgive you, I do, not because you deserve it, but because holding on to anger hurts me more than it hurts you. And I've worked too hard for my peace to let you steal that too. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. Forgiveness doesn't mean things go back to how they were. If you want a relationship with me, we can build one. Slowly. Carefully, with boundaries. We meet in public, we don't discuss money or inheritance. You prove through actions, not words, that you've changed. You respect my independence and my choices. You accept that you destroyed my trust and it's going to take years, if ever, to rebuild it. Those are my terms. If you can accept them, we can try. If you can't, that's okay too. I love you. I'll always love you because you're my daughter. But love doesn't mean accepting abuse. You're 42 years old. You made choices. You face consequences. That's how life works. If you want to be in my life, prove you're worth the risk. Mom? We've been rebuilding. Slowly. So slowly. We meet once a month for coffee. Public place, neutral territory. We talk. Sometimes it's awkward. Sometimes it's easier. She's working hard, 2 jobs now, paying off debt, living within her means. She's divorced from Brandon. She's in therapy twice a week. She's trying. I don't know if we'll ever be close again like we were when she was young. Maybe that relationship died when she posted those party emojis. Maybe it died years before that when she started seeing me as an obstacle instead of as her mother. But we're trying. And that's something. As for me, I'm 72 now. I live in my beautiful apartment in Midtown. I volunteer at my church. I mentor young teachers. I serve on the scholarship committee for the Thomas Richardson Memorial Scholarship Fund, and I meet every single student we support. I have friends. I have community. I have purpose. I have peace. And I have boundaries. Firm, unbreakable boundaries. Nobody takes advantage of me. Nobody exploits me. Nobody treats me like I'm incompetent or declining or a problem to be solved. I'm a 72-year-old black woman who grew up in the Memphis projects, who put herself through college, who built a life and a legacy from nothing. I survived poverty. I survived racism. I survived widowhood. I survived my own daughter trying to steal from me. I'm still here, still strong, still clear-minded, still fighting. Last week, I taught a class at my senior living community about protecting yourself from family financial exploitation. 30 people came. I told them my story, all of it. The Facebook post, the party emojis, the nursing home ambush, selling the house. At the end, someone asked, "How do you forgive your child for trying to steal from you?" I thought about that. Then I said, forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. Forgiveness doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen. Forgiveness doesn't mean trusting them again. Forgiveness means releasing the anger because holding on to it poisons you. Forgiveness means accepting that they showed you who they are and believing them. Forgiveness means protecting yourself and moving forward. I forgave my daughter, but I also sold the house she was trying to steal. I changed my will. I set boundaries she can't cross. You can forgive someone and still protect yourself from them. In fact, that's exactly what you should do. My daughter posted party emojis about putting me in a home. She thought she was celebrating getting rid of me and getting my house. Instead, she celebrated losing everything. And I celebrated something better, my freedom, my peace, and the chance to help students who'll actually appreciate it. The house is gone. She'll never inherit it. And I'm living my best life without her drama, her manipulation, her greed. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's peace. It's boundaries. It's choosing yourself. The room was quiet. Then someone started clapping. Then everyone was clapping. Because they understood. Because most of them had their own stories of family members who saw their assets instead of their humanity. Of children or grandchildren who were circling like vultures waiting for inheritance, treating them like obstacles. We're not obstacles. We're not problems to be solved. We're not burdens to be managed. We're human beings who built lives, who deserve respect, who have every right to protect what's ours. My daughter learned that lesson the hard way. And I'm teaching it to every elderly person who'll listen. You don't owe anyone your suffering. You don't owe anyone your assets. You don't owe anyone your peace. Protect yourself. Set boundaries. And if someone posts party emojis about institutionalizing you, sell the house they're waiting to inherit and give the money to people who'll actually appreciate it. Best decision I ever made.